Hello everyone and welcome to the Skybook webinar. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today. This webinar will primarily focus on improving METAR, TAF and NOTAM monitoring. At any point, feel free to put questions in the chat and we will answer them at the end. Now, if you can all react with a thumbs up or a heart, that would be fantastic, just so we know you are all in the room with us today. Awesome, thank you. So joining me today is Sean McLean, our Senior Customer Account Manager.
Hello guys, how you doing? Good to see you all.
And I am Dan Cook, Head of Marketing. Just a brief intro before we go into the demonstration. So Bytron Aviation Systems has nearly 40 years experience. Our solution called Skybook is used by over 120 operators across over 130 countries. We have over 17,000 briefing packages and downloaded on a daily basis. And our system has an outstanding uptime guarantee of 99.95%. To put that simply, we connect the workflow of flight operations from pre-flight with our dispatch management system, in-flight via our streamlined EFB, and post-flight via in-depth analytics and storage. Prioritizing safety and becoming that single point of truth for integrated data. So in this webinar, we will share real-time airfield insights, how to manage NOTAM data, and there'll be a Q&A session at the end. Here's a few brief stats before we get started. Skybook helps reduce overhead costs with huge savings by removing paper and printing, which also leads to fuel savings. Skybook reduces crew and flight planning distractions by making weather and NOTAM data immediately available. Skybook improves decision-making by keeping operators informed of changing weather and NOTAM information. Streamlined NOTAM filtering makes the briefing process more efficient. Now over to Sean, who will do the main demonstration.
Fantastic. Right, guys. Yeah, thanks again for joining us on this webinar. We're going to look at the benefits of our Airfield Watch weather monitoring, and also look at the NOTAM filtering and the NOTAM Watch system we also have in place here at Skybook. As everybody on this call will know, monitoring weather is essential for ensuring that your operations are operating safely and also efficiently, ensuring that those commercial routes that you're flying are not burning extra fuel by avoiding weather which may not actually be apparent or necessary to avoid on the flight that you're operating. So here at Skybook, what we've tried to do is give you guys on the ground in your OCCs and dispatch teams a tool that makes monitoring weather across your operation a lot more simple. So gone are the days of needing to print off reams and reams of NOTAM information or weather alerts on an hourly basis for the airfields that you're operating to. We now have, as you can see on the screen, what I like to think is a simple way of monitoring weather and NOTAMs. So what you're seeing here at the moment is each individual active airfield on our operational FlyPro for today. Got a little help button down here which shows the key for what each part of the symbols indicate. So, for example, looking at Frankfurt, the top part of this relates to the ceiling that's in the forecast and METAR. The right-hand side relates to visibility, The bottom relates to RVRs, and then the left relates to wind. We operate on a traffic light system. So green means minima okay. Amber means that your warning minima has been breached, and red means that your critical minima has been breached. You'll notice that there's an outer circle and then an inner square. So the segments within the inner square relate to METAR data, and then the segments in the outer circle relate to TAF data. Finally, the bottom border relates to your NOTAMs, and the top border relates to significant weather status. So looking at Frankfurt, we can see that the ceiling and RVR are not reported in the METAR or TAF, so they are currently at the white unreported stage. On the right, we're seeing the visibility is minima okay, but on the left, we're seeing that actually the warning minima for your wind has been breached. You can also see that we've got a critical NOTAM in force at Frankfurt. So what we can do now is actually click into Frankfurt itself to get a more detailed weather briefing. What we then bring is a summary, and then METAR, TAF, applicable NOTAMs, any NOTAMs, and then any notices which have been uploaded through your company area. Looking at the raw METAR, there's no obvious indication straight away that you've got problems with wind against the minima that you've configured within the system. But when we decode it into the sections below, you can see that wind speeds at 5 knots has been flagged up as being past our warning minima, which is configured within the settings area of our Skybook ground portal. Looking at the TAF, that's why on the symbol on the front page, we were seeing that both the inner square and the outer circle were both amber, showing that warning minima has been breached. Other extra things we can do with the weather here is we can see the METAR trends. So you can see how the temperature's been up and down, how the dew point has been up and down. So you can start to see if there's going to be any fog or mist trends. Any pressure changes over the last periods of 48 hours. Again, monitoring whether you're likely to see intense storm cells developing in the areas that you're operating. Visibility has been very good over the last 48 hours, and you've had quite a high level of visibility. And the wind speed has started to slowly creep up as well. So again, just adding to that situational awareness of you guys in the OCC or dispatch teams when you're looking at weather planning and reacting to the weather models that you're receiving. No NOTAMs, so we can move straight onto our NOTAMs. And these NOTAMs are all the NOTAMs that we have received from our third-party vendors relating to this airfield. To help you understand which ones are critical and which ones are regular NOTAMs, we changed the text from black to red in the subject. So you can see there, scrolling down, that actually there's going to be runway closures valid from the 26th of June to the 1st of July between 21 UTC and 3 UTC, and there 7 right, 25 left is going to be closed. So as a member of OCC or your dispatch, previously you may not have had a visual indicator to show you the NOTAMs that are most important to you as the operator, whereas we do flag those critical NOTAMs in the red text here. How does Skybook know how to do that? What we do when we onboard you, we look at setting up your NOTAM area and your NOTAM watch with Q code filtering. We'll ask you to designate whether a Q code is a warning Q code or a critical Q code, and then that is how the system will filter. As with all software technology, we are looking to improve the way that we filter, and filtering by keyword is on our future roadmap for delivery this year, and we're always welcome to ideas from our customers on how we can improve our product. something that actually we ask twice a year on our user forums. And when you are on board with us, you get a designated account manager, and you can work through different features and ideas that you have to improve the product with your account manager as well. So we're always looking at how we can improve our offering with our customers. Going back into Airfield Watch, active airfields are supplied by taking data from your flight plans, essentially. So we will look to ingest your ARINC 633 EFFs, and out of that we'll strip your destination, departure, and en route airfields to bring the active airfields all into one screen. You can create your own groups. So if you are dispatching by desks or regions, you can control your groups so that they will only show the data that is applicable to the desk or region that you're monitoring. And you can look at either just your destination airfields, your destination alternates, your overall alternates, or actually your departure airfields. So there's plenty of ways to manipulate the data to get the best view for what you have. How would I use this as an XOps controller? I'd have probably had this up on a big screen in our OCC so that everybody within the OCC environment could monitor the weather. Whereas previously, we had to do the laborious task of printing off our weather and NOTAMs every hour and doing a physical check. So all I'd have to do now is glimpse up to a big screen. And because we don't charge by user, everybody within your OCC environment will be able to have access to this system on their desktops as well. And they'll be able to configure the view of what they're seeing within Airfield Watch to the view that matters most to them at that moment in time. Creating a group is really simple. All you have to do is go into create a group. Look at a UK group. And click the update button there. All I have to do then is look to add group items. So I can add in our local airport to me and Dan here, add in London Heathrow, because that's obviously a major one for us in the UK. And then when I go into the select groups and refresh my page, those UK airports are now listed. So as quickly as that, it's taken me a couple of seconds to just list the airports that I want to see in this particular group, and they're now ready for you to see as the operator almost instantly with the METAR, the TAF and NOTAM data overlaid. While I've been talking, you may have seen that there's a blue bar that appears sometimes. That's actually the page refreshing. So there's no need for your operators to manually refresh the page to get the latest data. Our Airfield Watch module will automatically update, and that way you can be safe in the knowledge that the data that is being displayed in the graphical format is the most relevant and up to date as it can be. And that update is normally every 20 to 30 seconds. Really simple tool, but really powerful, and certainly helps to build that safety and efficiency within your OCC departments. Moving back into NOTAMs, what do we do extra with NOTAMs? So not everybody is going to be monitoring the Airfield Watch system, and not everybody is going to be near a workstation when a critical NOTAM is released. So it shouldn't just be down to that one person in your OCC environment to spread the message of a critical NOTAM when it's received. So what we've now got within our Skybook offering is an email rule. So you can now select a group of NOTAMs, a group of Q codes, a group of airfields that you want to have that are critical to your operation, and you have those distributed out to your team. So what you can do is you can select as many of these as you want. You can select as many inboxes as you want. And every time there's a critical NOTAM released for the environment that your email address has been attached to, you'll then receive that NOTAM through as an email. So you can see an example here where a danger area has been activated for EGTT. It gives you the valid date and time, and then the actual information from the NOTAM. And this is ensuring now that rather than that one person having to be relied upon to distribute this NOTAM information, this could be emailed straight to your chief pilot. It could be emailed straight to your fleet captains. It can be emailed to every single captain if you want it to be. There's no limit on the amount of users that can be lined up to use this. And again, this just works hand in hand with building that situational awareness, using a bit of automation, so building that efficiency and safety profile within your operations. We can also set up NOTAM exclusions. So if there are NOTAMs that you have no interest in at all, or there's a set of Q codes that just are not relevant to you as an airline at a particular airfield, then these exclusion rules can also be set up where you can link the series, the airfield FIR, and the QFIR and the Q code can all be listed. And that will mean that those NOTAMs are not included in your briefings. So you don't need to worry about those. When we go through an onboarding with a new customer, these are all the questions that we'll ask at the very start so that we can configure the account for you. And then once you're live and up and running, your super admin can go into the system at any point and update the weather and NOTAMs. The final section I just want to show you is how easy it is to configure the minima settings. So as mentioned, the traffic light, red, green, and amber for the critical warning and minima OK. Within the settings area for your user admins, you'll have this minima drop-down section where you can configure your ceiling, visibility, RVR, wind speed, and wind gust minimas. And it's as easy as either dragging or typing into the box itself. Gone too high. Sorry. Simple as dragging into the box itself the minimas that you actually want to configure. Again, we do all this at the start of the setup, but if anything does change, then you're not relying on us at Skybook to change it for you. You've got access to update them yourself. So that can be done for either general airfields, or you can categorize airfields in Group A, Group B, Group C. So if you've got a particular set of airfields that have a reduced minima, then you can bundle those all together. And then you can go further where you can configure airfields specifically. So if you've got a Cat B airport that has reduced weather minima and it is very different to other airfields that you're operating into, then they can be searched within the drop down here, and then you can configure that yourselves within that airfield specific minima section. So you as the operator are in charge of the data that drives the Airfield Watch and our NOTAM monitoring, but it does empower you with that automation and makes life a lot easy for the end user, so they're not having to print off loads of forms or loads of weather and NOTAM reports, and it's as quickly checking on a screen, a couple of clicks, and you get all the information at the tip of your finger. I hope that's been informative, and should you have any questions in the future, you're more than welcome to reach out, and I'll hand over back to you, Dan.